Okay, this is how you, and yeah, mostly it looks pretty good. Um, when I see these kind of this is what we call artifacts. It often means there's surfaces that are on top of each other. So somehow this got duplicated multiple times, um, and it also looks like it got under display. No, sorry, mesh display. Do harden edge so it doesn't have that weird looking shadow thing. And then of course you can bevel it as before. Or actually you probably want it where the sides have softened, but this side isn't. And then of course you can bevel this edge, shift right mouse click, bevel edge. I might have done this inside edge here as well. Is that another one with a surface on top of each other or something? Looks like it, yeah. There's an extra surface there as well. Yeah, something like that. Look out for this where rather than picking the specific edges, you've beveled the whole object. You can see it gives it that like faceted look to the object. I'm gonna select this and then hit delete, which puts it back, and then make sure rather than doing the whole object, you just do this edge. And I can hit 3 to kind of show the smooth preview, and just to kind of compare these side by side, the one that where the whole object was beveled versus the one where I just see that faceted edge, and this one's round and smooth. And also you're getting this kind of crazy thing happen in the middle there, which I guess doesn't matter since it's covered up by that other piece, but still it just kind of shows that the construction isn't correct. And then the same goes for this one, where again you'd want to click that, select, delete, and you can only do that if you've kept history. And again, this one has the kind of the mesh display issue where you would just want to do, I'm just going to select all these faces and then hold down control and deselect those and do mesh display harden, so we don't have that weird looking issue. And then again, bevel that edge. Yeah, you'd either need to kind of pull that in or add a holding edge. See, when you smooth it, it does this kind of weird rounding thing. So I talk a lot about adding holding edges. I'm going to use the multi-cut tool, Control Shift X, and then hold down Control, put an extra edge there. And see, that kind of holds the shape if you hit 3 to do the smooth preview. You're missing bevel on this. So you'd want to do all these edges, and again, you wouldn't want to do the whole object, just the edges that need it, because then you get all those extra. Oops, didn't mean to select that. Does that look right? I think so. Okay. Maybe spread this out a little bit. Also, these are a little flat. And at this point, it wouldn't scale up the whole object because it'll mess up the look of the bevel. So this should be a little bit more cube shape. See, what I mean is, if you scale this up, look at the the shape of the bevel, and if I scale the whole thing up, see how it stretches out the bevel itself, which we don't want. And that's why I go to vertex and then just pick the whole back of it and then move that out, and that way the bevel stays the same. But then of course if you do that, you have to adjust the position of the ears and the arms and the legs and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, and then this is another one where you've beveled the whole object rather than just the selected thing. So again, I would select this, delete, oops, wrong one, select, delete, is that, wait, oh, it's this one, polybevel, select, delete, is that not working? Oh no, I don't know. Maybe there was more than one on there. Anyway, yeah, and then you have to go in and carefully select the edges you want to bevel. And again, you got the multiple duplicates here. So, yeah, overall it looks good. I just think there's several little things to clean up on there. This one, yeah, again, see how you've got these like triple lines here. I can tell that again you selected the whole thing rather than the specific edges that you want to bevel. So that's kind of the main error you've made, is just selecting the whole objects to bevel rather than the precise edges. But other than that, it's looking pretty good. This is Chen Yu, and first thing I noticed is it looks like you're using Maya 2017. It's possible to open a Maya ASCII file with a text editor, and it tells you which version you're using. So if I'm not mistaken, this is done with Maya 2017, so I highly recommend you download Maya 2018 and make sure you get Service Pack 5 installed as well. Yeah, I think this is looking really good. I like the extra detail of this bit at the bottom here. I think this is interesting. I'm not really sure. I think something a little funny's happened with the like this edge here. It's looking a little funny, but it's okay. This looks alright. It's just that they're not on smooth preview, some of the surfaces, so they look faceted. I like the seams that you've done on these objects. I think that looks good. This looks nice. Look, there's, how that fits in pretty well. Some extra detail in the back. I think I would have gone ahead and beveled this one as well, just so it looks like the other objects in the scene. Yeah, this is looking really good. Looks like you've got your surfaces pretty well organized and named and all that, so that's really good. Yeah, I think you've done a really nice job. Okay, this is Hend, and yeah, this is looking good. Somehow he looks a little squat. Maybe the legs are a little short compared to the body on this one. I would kind of check the proportions on that. Maybe make those legs a little longer. It could be as simple as sort of scaling these up a bit, and then you probably, how is this organized? Pick everything but the feet. Where are the feet? fine with those. I'm just going to do Shift P, which will unparent the feet. Shift P. And actually, that'll make this easier. I'll just move the whole thing up. And then you could put the feet back in either in the main thing or as part of those other groups. I'm just going to middle mouse drag these here and just have them in separately. Anyway, yeah, this is looking good. Looks like you've got all those bevels going on. The eyes look a little weird in most of the reference images. The eyes kind of fill up this area in the head, so I would, whoops, scale that in, maybe flatten it a bit. Something more like that for the eye, so more like this, less like that. Yeah, but this looks like a pretty good clean model. It looks like you got everything in here. Here's one where it looks like you did the you beveled the whole object rather than do we still have the bevel on here? Doesn't look like it. Yeah, so but you might even just be able to just duplicate one of these other ones and replace it with that. That would probably be the easiest, just to delete these and duplicate these. Command D or Control D, and then position those new ones, something like that. Easy, quick fix. So, yeah, the only thing from here is to just look for other details that you can see in those reference images and add them if you wanted to. I think maybe I would have these stick out a little further forward. They look a little short, something like that. Yeah, this is looking really good. Nice work. Okay, this is Maddie, and yeah, this guy's looking really good. I like this coil thing here. It turned out well, and I like the asymmetrical eyes. And this is really clean shape as well. Yeah, everything looks very nicely put together. Here, these I might have done these a little differently to make them out of one shape. So just as an example, I might kind of let's scale this up a little bit, and then I would do multi-cut Control Shift X, and then hold down Control and cut it there, and then grab this face and extrude, Shift right mouse click, extrude face, and then pull that out. And that way you don't get those these kind of overlapping surfaces and seams and stuff like that. And then I probably would have gone ahead and beveled this object as well. Really it's going to be all the edges except for these. I'm just control clicking these inside edges here. Everything else I think we're going to want to bevel. So I just selected all of them and then deselected the ones I didn't want, and then shift right mouse click, bevel edge, and then decrease that. Oh, I didn't deselect that one. Control click. Okay. Now shift right mouse click, bevel edge. So more like that, and that would also be difficult to do that if you have the separate objects like these here. Not that that was necessarily covered in the module, so I wouldn't necessarily have expected. And the only other thing I thought of, and again, it's maybe not, the necessarily part of this assignment, but just to think of for this character is maybe taking some liberties on the design and getting the legs a little bit longer. And I understand that you're following the reference closely, which is good, but as kind of I can see taking some liberties there, because it seems like this thing would be almost impossible to make him walk with those teeny tiny short legs. So it's just a design thought. It's not really anything to do with the quality of your modeling or following the reference, which was really the main point. So but just a thought. But yeah, so I think you might want to fix up those little claw hands. But this is great. It's really good. Okay, this is Bohan, otherwise known as Bob, and yeah, looking really good. I like the extra little detail, like these, these things on the side and these panels. Maybe a bit, looking a little thick, but I think it's all right. I think the feet could be a little longer, at least in the front. Oh, it looks like you've got these bottom surfaces too. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I need to, well, it'll probably be easier to, if I select all of these surfaces and then go into component mode and then just select all the verts, W for move, and just, whoa! For some reason I put on this, see that slide that if I hold down W and click, I get this marking menu. Well, I'm holding down W and then transform constraints off. We'll fix that. Anyway, I could move those forward a bit. I probably would have done a little bit rounder in the front. It's a little more squared off. Do you still have this bevel? Yeah, more like that. And I guess I would do the same. Oh, we don't have that ear anymore. Okay, no big deal. But anyways, I would do that rounder and see the difference between the two. And yeah, I think all of these would I'd probably make them a little more cube shaped. They're a little, they're not kind of deep enough. And then you would want to move back the corresponding, did you group these? Yeah, I just selected one object of that and hit the up arrow, and then that'll pick those groups. Let's see if these are grouped as well. Yeah. And then it can center these. Something like that. This thing can be wider too. And then center it again, and then the ears. Oops. Okay, that's not a helpful group really for organizing those things, so I'll just pick these and those. Anyway. Yeah, and then move these back. Yeah, better. And then I think you could go through and name more of your objects and get the outliner more organized. What you want is ultimately the whole thing in one group and have all the other things named. But yeah, overall, this is looking good. Nice work. Okay, this is Michelle, and yeah, it looks like you got most of the shapes on there. There's some issues. Looks like you didn't manage to get the kind of T here. I'm just going to make sure everything's displayed so we're not display show all. And then some of these, I would say that's, a little thick. You're missing that kind of T-bar on the head. You didn't get the extrudes here. And that's pretty easy to do actually, is if we just take these faces, shift right mouse click, extrude face, and see we have to do the keep face together off. And then extrude face again, push that in, and you get that, although I maybe did the edge is a little thin, but at least you see the process. So actually that's pretty quick and easy to do. And then going in and bevel the appropriate edges. You didn't do the little meter thing. All of these things are covered in the videos, so I'm not going to rebuild them from scratch here. These are, I mean, it's interesting that you're adding that, but it's not, it doesn't quite match the reference image. And then on a lot of these, and I've showed this in other parts of this video, you've beveled the whole object rather than just the edges that need it. And so you see you get all these extra edges here and this kind of funny garbage happening there. So to get rid of that, if I select this polybevel, hit select, and then delete, that gets rid of the bevel. And then what you want to do is just right mouse click edge and then double click that edge, and then shift right mouse click bevel edge, and then adjust the fraction here, segments, and I can hit smooth preview if I want or not. But you see the difference between this one and this one, where you've got all those extra edges, and here you don't. You get that kind of faceted look there, and here this one you don't. And that stuff in the middle goes away. So those need to be fixed. As I mentioned, add the meter. It doesn't look like you quite did this right. It should have been 2 separate bevels, but you just did 1 bevel. So again, and it's also you did the whole object rather than just the parts that needed it. So in this case, you wanted to just, whoops, I might also sort of scale this out a bit more, but you wanted to pick just these first, and shift right mouse click, bevel edge, and actually do quite a large fraction here. Might use this slider, it's a little easier to control. And nice and rounded there. Then take the top edge, and it might not let you double click, so I'm just going to marquee select the top, and then control select to deselect the sides, and then bevel that. And again, adjust. Whoops. Okay. See the difference between the feet? And you still have that kind of sharp edge on the bottom, which I think we want. So yeah, a little unfinished. So more to do. Look out for these. I wouldn't scale these unevenly as you have done. I would make sure that in this case, pivot points off. I'm going to center the pivot, modify center pivot, and the Y and Z should probably be the same. So let's say for example, they're both 0.16 or something. And so that's perfectly round. And the same with this, whoops, maybe 0.34 or something. But again, you have the issue of the whole thing being beveled rather than just the edges. So yeah, really you need to kind of review some of the videos and just finish it really and fix a few of those problems. Okay, this is Tia, and yeah, this is looking pretty good. I think there's a couple proportion issues I might fix, like these feet. I would say that they're a little short, especially in front, so I'm going to right mouse click, choose vertex, and let's do that for both of these at the same time. And pull those out. And it's better than scaling the whole thing, because otherwise that'll mess up the shape of the bevels if you try to scale the object. And I think these different joints should be a little bit closer in size. In your case, the shoulder is much bigger than the elbow and wrist, and I think those are a little bit more equal. I would make sure you bevel these object as well. Right mouse click edge, shift right mouse click bevel edge, and adjust the fraction and segments. Oops. Something like that. For both of those. And did you bevel this? You did. Okay. And this, and that, and that, and this. And this one you've beveled everything, but I'm going to go to the attribute editor and select that. Bevel, select, delete, and see you just want to bevel the edges that need it. So not like these, so this, that, 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 and, whoops, didn't mean to select that. Okay, I got those, and then if I hold down Shift and double click, I should be able to select these. So none of those inside edges are beveled. And Shift right mouse click, bevel edge, and then again adjust these. And better. And if you want to compare those side by side, I'm just going to duplicate this and move it down or to the side. Let me delete the one I just made. Oh, that's not going to work. Yeah, if you ever want to delete something, excuse me, duplicate something with a history on it, you have to do Edit, Duplicate Special Options, and duplicate input graph, and then you'll have the history as well. And then I can go ahead and delete the bevel off. Select, delete, and compare that with the way you did it, where you just did where you did the whole thing. So here, you've got all these extra edges on here, and this one you don't. I guess it doesn't look that different, I guess, in the end. But what you get is these like funny, see these kind of, at the bottom here, you're getting these kind of funny sort of pinchy areas there that don't look so good. So yeah, anyway, it's usually good to just make sure you're beveling only in exactly what you need. So yeah, mostly really good. A couple little touches, but nice work. Okay, this is Kareem, and yeah, this is looking good. It looks like you used Torus for this. I would have used a pipe for that instead, because this is a little bit too rounded here. Here you've beveled the whole object, or it's not that necessarily that I mean, if it was just a regular cube, it would have been fine that you did the whole object. It's just that this cube had a lot of extra unnecessary edges on it. It's just this. And that one should be beveled to this little guy here. This is looking good. These are all looking good. This is again one where you didn't need to bevel the whole object. You just do the selected edges, which you did do on this one, just not on that one. Maybe scale that out a little bit. And I like these seams that you've done, but again, I would bevel these as well a little bit. And then for these, a little more rounded in the front. So this bevel, I think. Nope, not that one. This one. Oh, interesting. Wait a minute. What controls what here? Anyway, yeah, it's a little more rounded in the front, and if you can kind of see the difference between these two now, I think that's a little bit more like the reference. And then I would also probably just going to choose the vertices of the front of this, pull it out, make that a little longer. Yeah, mostly really good. Nice work. Maybe slightly bigger bevel on that, just to be, proportional. Yeah, so just a few fixes. Well, that looking good. This is Hayden, and there was some question about including the reference image. One thing you'll notice if you look at this image is look at the path here. See how it says C users HPerk? It's looking for this image on, your C users HPerk downloads folder, which obviously I don't have on my computer. So if you ever want to include the images, note that the images are not embedded in the Maya file, but rather that Maya points to those images wherever they are in the directory. Now the way to include the image in a package altogether is to, instead of just saving the scene, do File, Archive Scene, and what it's going to do is create a zip file, and here it's telling me where it's put that zip file in this path, and so then you would send me that whole zip file, and that would include the image. And here again, like many others, you've beveled this whole object rather than just the edges that need it. So for example, if I get rid of this one, select and delete, and then just pick this edge, shift right mouse click, bevel edge, and something like that. That's going to look better and cleaner than, say, this one. And this needs to be beveled, and again, just the selected edges. I think that's covered in the module. That one I would bevel. This one, what's happened here? Again, it looks like you've beveled the whole thing rather than just the selected edges. Also, you've subdivided the face to push these things in. Is that what that is? Anyway, if that's the case, you need to just just select the necessary edges to bevel rather than the whole object. And that's the same with here and here. That looks fine. This looks okay. I might adjust the this bevel a little bit, just to make that a little more proportional, something like that. Maybe another segment, just because it should be proportional to size. And then you could bevel the edge here. I mentioned that one already. This looks a little funny. I think that you missed a step on this one. So I think maybe this one's okay, but I think on this one, let's try deleting this one. Okay, so you've got, well then what's this one? I'm just going to delete all of these because I don't know what all these extra extrudes are doing. Seems like there's a lot of extra extrudes on here. I don't know. So anyway, just to redo this real quick, I'll select these faces, shift right mouse click, extrude face, make sure we have keep faces together off, and then I can click on that and scale these in a bit, and then scale in like that, and then extrude again. It's that keep faces together off is the real trick to this, and then extrude again and push those in, and then I get the shape, and then I can go through and bevel the appropriate edges. These edges, just the select ones need to be beveled. So yeah, a bunch of fixes on this one. I think you've got all the basic stuff in there. I would stay away from these disproportionately scaled things like that. Make sure the Y and Z is the same, maybe like 0.4 or something like that, so that it's round. But again, you've beveled the whole object rather than just the specific edges. So fix that, and then maybe head could be a little deeper. So yeah, a bunch of stuff to fix, but mostly looking good. Okay, this is Stephanie, and yeah, this is looking good. Seems like there's a little bit of proportional issues, like the feet look very tall. Um, so I might kind of grab the top of these and move those down some, or like that, and then oops, grab these and go in component mode and grab bottoms of these and just push those to there. That looks a little better. This looks maybe like it could be a little longer too. Yeah, hands maybe a little small. These are looking good. I would bevel these things too, just these edges here. Like so, and also not make these disproportionately scaled, so just make sure the scale Y and Z is the same, like let's say they're both 0.3, something like that, so it's round, although I guess that's too big. 0.25 maybe? Maybe that's still too big. Something like that, but not all oval like that. Something looks a little amiss here, so something's gone wrong with the way you're doing this. I'm going to isolate this by clicking this right here, and yeah, it seems like there's a bunch of issues with this, the way it's been built. It seems like maybe you did some extrudes where you didn't then afterwards push the surface in, is what I'm guessing. Yeah, there's a lot of issues with this, so let's see if we can take out some of these. And yeah, and the bevels look like they've gone wrong too, so I'm going to take these out one at a time. By the way, when you're deleting these nodes, it doesn't always work, and sometimes can be disastrous. But I'm going to select these and take them out. This could tear this thing apart. We'll see what happens. Select, delete. I'm just doing it in order. Select, delete. Select, delete. Select, delete. Still looking kind of messed up. Oh yeah. Okay, yeah, see, that doesn't always work. So there's enough issues with this that I actually think it would be easier to redo it than just try to troubleshoot all the kind of crazy little surfaces going on in there. Actually, one thing you can try that sometimes works, I'm just going to reopen this file, is just wireframe unshaded, turn that off. If you do mesh cleanup, and with the following options, lamina faces, non-manifold geometry, and then faces with zero geometry, and then clean up. Nope. Yeah, it's kind of a mess. I would just redo it. It's just, there's too much crazy stuff happening in there. I think it's just all those extra bevels and then some of the other stuff you've done to it. So just do it again. Just follow the video. Yeah, did I mention beveling those edges? Make sure all of your surfaces are in one big group. Again, avoid these kind of disproportional scales. Maybe like that, 0.3. You can bevel this. That looks okay. Yeah, again, disproportionate scale. Maybe a little bit smaller joints. I guess those are okay. I think maybe these are a bit wide. And I don't think I beveled the top and bottom. I think I just beveled the sides on these, so you don't get that rounded thing there. I think it extends right into the body. feet, oh, we already showed that, the feet looking a little tall. Okay, so a bunch of little things to fix, but mostly pretty good. Okay, this is Cindy, and yeah, this is looking good. I think maybe some of the facial features are sticking out a bit too far. So I would give the face a little bit more depth. I mean, a little bit less depth by taking all of these and pushing them in some. Maybe more like that. I think I built this as one continuous surface rather than these two separate surfaces. So check the video on that. Yeah, I think I like subdivided this and then extruded out the bottom rather than have that as two separate surfaces. Maybe another segment on here, just because it's sort of big. And I might go do the same here, or so. Yeah, also this stuff all seems to be sticking out a little bit further than I normally would. If that's red, that means that it's gotten accidentally keyframe. I don't know if I just did that. Did I just do that? No, I didn't. If you ever do that and you want to get rid of the animation in a scene, you can do edit, delete all by type, channels. That gets rid of that. It looks like you beveled this outside edge, but not like these inside edges like that, and that. So I would do those too. Yeah, and I like the seam over here. That's good. You've done that. Maybe a little bit big on the hand. Maybe scale that in a touch. One way to do that is, since this is one continuous surface, well, if you're real clever about it, actually you might be able to go back to this extrude and decrease the local scale X. I'm going to hold down, oh no, not that one. Where's the thing that pushed it out? I don't know. Maybe is there, oh no, it's probably this one, there we go. And then that local translate Z, and see I can adjust that after the fact, which is kind of cool. I don't know if you'd have that inside one or not. And yeah, that's good. It's a nice extra little detail. I would bevel these inside edges as well. I'm just shift double clicking on all those, shift right mouse click, bevel edge. That looks really funny. Okay. And maybe this one could have ooh. Oh, it doesn't like that. Yeah, sometimes you can't mess with those nodes after the fact. Thinks there's little conflicts. So I'm doing a lot where I'm kind of messing around with history, but it's sort of a dangerous game to play. You can't always do that. I would say these could be a little bit more rounded in the front. If, again, this might not work well because we're sort of goofing around after the fact. But I think that's a little better to have it a little more rounded, like so. But yeah, mostly very good. Nice work.